Again,
You're
telephone.
not listening.
You're not listening. Stop crying. Stop that. Telephone pictures say 1,000 words. Stop it. This boo-hoo, cry means nothing.
Okay.
See? No tears. Nothing.
Oh, I got none now.
I know, because they're not real.
Oh, yeah.
I don't fall for those tears.
Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I have a clip for you from Judge Moen. She is holding a contempt hearing brought by the ex-husband. And there's a lot going on under the surface here, so I will just play the clip and let you watch.
We will go on the record in the matter 22 FA45 in re the marriage of Timothy Ainley and Rachel Ainley. Appearances are we have both parties appearing in person without counsel. We're set here today in this matter for a contempt hearing. We were here previously on November 8th, 2024, in which we had a little bit of a hearing, and the parties were instructed to bring all evidence and information for the court to present here today. At the last hearing, Ms. Ainley informed the court that she was prepared to proceed with an accepted offer of the house for November 22nd for tomorrow to sell the house. And she needed Mr. Ainley to sign off on everything. And that's why the court scheduled the final hearing for today. Mr. Ainley, this is your contempt hearing, and so you have the burden of proof. I'm going to have both parties stand, raise your right hands, be sworn in.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to provide to the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, you may be seated. Mr. Ainley, at the previous hearing, you had indicated that there was a list of property that you stated that you had left at the marital residence, and that either was just left there and you had not yet received, or that Ms. Ainley had destroyed and that you wanted compensation for, and you were going to inform the court of that property and of the value that you were seeking. You may begin with your testimony.
Yes, ma'am. After the divorce was final, we came to an agreement that day on everything that was supposed to be surrendered to me, and she agreed on that. Well, being that there was a restraining order, no contact order in place, I had to come to court and get a court date set. It was signed by Commissioner Krupa for 2 days on a Friday and on a Saturday and Sunday to go retrieve my property. And the agreement was she was not to be on the property or on the property when she was supposed to have everything staged in the driveway with all my personal property. And I went out that day, and some of the items were out in the driveway, and I pulled in and started getting stuff. Here she comes. She had her boyfriend or whatever, fiance, whatever, doesn't matter, but she was there, and I automatically just had an anxiety attack. So I just got what was in the driveway, left, and therefore I couldn't go back the next day because, I mean, she was there, and that was, that was a violation. Really, I couldn't go back. She was there, and to my knowledge, she refused to let me go to the property while she is not there and not have access to anything that was in the home or my personal belongings or my four-wheelers and everything like that, and my pontoon, my chainsaw. I had I got a list here of stuff that was, and I did retrieve a few things, and what was there was damaged and beyond repair. I mean, it was destroyed. The hole drilled through the block of the four-wheeler, the lawnmower. I mean, everything I had was just what I got. We did retrieve that was in the driveway was totally destroyed.
So at the time of the divorce with Commissioner Krupa, and that was Well, actually, the divorce was with me on March 6th. There was a list of property that you were to retrieve. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not real sure of the exact date. Commissioner Krupa put that order into place. My attorney at the time was Adam Benson.
Oh, that was September 28th, 2023, in which you had the hearing with Commissioner Krupa to go retrieve your property from the divorce.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And it says, though, that anything not picked up after those two dates is considered abandoned.
Exactly. I could not go in there. She was there, and it stated in the order from Commissioner Krupa that she was not supposed to be there. She was, I mean, that was just a setup for me to go back to jail again for violating an order of protection.
At the hearing on September 28th, 2023, did you provide a list of that property to the commissioner or to the court of what you wanted to retrieve?
That list was already included with our divorce hearing. All of my personal tools, all of my personal property, the furniture in the basement.
Yes, that was exhibit 1, the personal property list. And yes, I have that. Okay. And we're talking about the pontoon, the tools, the generator, the Ford Ranger, the chainsaws, the all personal belongings. That list, is that what you're referring to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You may proceed.
I have a list here which doesn't scratch the surface, but I have a list here of everything that I have not retrieved and that was either damaged or not damaged, but destroyed. I never got anything back that was damaged other than the toolbox, the Performix toolbox, and that had sat out in the pontoon along with whatever else was in there for a couple winters, and it wasn't even salvageable, excuse me.
First, Ms. Hess, formerly known as Ms. Ainley. Were you at the property when Mr. Ainley went to retrieve his?
I was in the house, yes.
Why were you at the property?
I had nowhere to go. And I had to get his stuff out.
You were specifically told at the hearing with Commissioner Krupa on September 28th, 2023, that you were not to be anywhere on that physical property.
I didn't have a choice.
You did have a choice because Commissioner Krupa said not to be on that physical property, not to be on that residence at all.
I didn't have no idea what time he was supposed to even be coming.
It
Was I supposed to
says,
stay gone all day?
you do,
I didn't
you
know.
did know, and I can tell you right now, you did know because it says pickup times, September 30th, 2023, between 2 PM and 4 PM, and October 1st, 2023, between 2 PM and 4 PM. So you knew exactly when he was gonna be there, exactly.
Leaving his stuff out there. He's
So-
already saying it was damaged.
You
I don't want.
just lied to the court. You just lied to
No,
the
I
court.
did not know.
You did know. You did know. That's
He didn't
physically,
show up. No, he did not show up when he was supposed to. There was time set in June for him to come. He didn't show. I didn't know if he was gonna show or not. I wasn't gonna take a chance of leaving his stuff sitting out there.
Mr. Ainley,
Your Honor, if it need be, I've got 2 witnesses that came with me with 2 trailers to load my personal property up. Her and her ex-fiance was out there. Her middle son Dylan was out there. They were all out there. She walked up and down the driveway following me, trying to talk to me. So that's all I gotta say. She was there. She knew the date. She knew the time. I was there about 10 minutes after I think it was I really can't recall the exact time on the
Mr. Ainley,
clock.
I believe she knew the date. I believe she knew the time. She just lied to the court.
Yes,
I do
ma'am.
not find her credible at all.
Yes, ma'am.
Continue.
All right, this is a list of my personal property. The all my clothing, all my suits, my dress slacks, everything from hunting, winter, everything was burned in the backyard. It was told, my children told me that.
You can't tell me what your children have told you.
Journey, my 9-year-old, and my 12-year-old said that.
You can't tell me what they've told you.
Okay, so what are you asking then?
I'm asking what property you have not received and what you're asking as reimbursement for that property.
I don't have it added up, but I've got everything itemized with the replacement cost. It just have to be added up. I've got, this,
Need to know where you've come up with these prices.
well, for one thing, the Performance Toolbox, I bought that at Menards about probably 5 years ago when we bought, 6 years ago when we bought the property. And I just looked up the replacement costs on it. No taxes included or nothing. And I mean, this is the bare minimum cost it would cost to replace my equipment, my tools, my personal belongings. And I even went on a low end of what it would, actually cost.
Can
to
you hear
replace.
him? Is he mumbling? You need to speak in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
microphone and you need to speak clearly because the court reporter needs to take everything down. If I can't hear, that means she can't hear.
Yes, ma'am. I went through and researched everything that the replacement cost on every piece of equipment and all of the tools itemized of what it would cost to replace them. And I went on the low side of on the price that it would cost to replace my tools and my personal belongings. And this is a bare minimum. I'm not asking for anything more other than so I can replace my equipment to get my contracting business back off the ground. And I mean, without these tools, I walked out of that house when we divorced. I walked out of there with a torn up clothes basket with 2 pair of shorts, 3 pair of underwear, and a couple pair of socks. That's all I ever got out of the whole divorce. And it's just, and when I told my stuff was burned in the backyard, it's pretty kind of heartbreaking because I had really nice clothes and I dressed nice. I mean, everything from the Ranger truck. I got pictures of the Ranger truck that was destroyed, and supposedly my clothes that were supposed to be in the back of it that sat out there for a couple winters. Not one piece of clothing was in the back of that truck that belonged to me. There was one shoe, a pair of my Docker dress shoes, one shoe, and the rest of it looked like her clothes she's just thrown out in the back of my truck, and it sat out there. It was just molded and saturated. I could tell it sat out in the back of that abandoned truck for a long time.
You're telling me a lot of stuff that's not relevant and that you don't have personal knowledge of. I need to know what you know and how you have personal knowledge of it. And I need to see evidence and proof.
I have pictures of everything that was in the truck and the damage to the truck. I have the pictures of the truck and the stuff that she returned that was in the back of the truck when I had it towed to my house. I basically had a garbage dumpster towed to my place.
All right, so the court is taking judicial notice of Exhibit 1, which is document 36 in case number 22 FA45. That is the list of your personal property. And I'm guessing you're talking about your Ford Ranger. If you would like the court to have any exhibits, and if you're talking about those pictures of the truck and any list of items that you're asking the court to reimburse you for, which you still need to provide testimony as to those items and as to the amounts that you're seeking, I need them to be marked as evidence and provided not only to me, because I informed you I needed a copy, Ms. Ainley needed a copy, and you needed a copy, so you needed to provide 3 copies.
Okay, I wasn't clearly aware of that. That was my mistake. I do have a 1 copy here. I can get copies made of the my actual personal belongings.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Not your turn.
if I could have a few minutes, I can take the staple out and take them down somewhere and have copies made of
Go
everything.
pay for copies at the clerk's office,
Yes, ma'am.
and you can pay for colored copies of your photos, but you need to have a copy for you, a copy for Ms. Hess Ainley, and a copy for me.
Yes, ma'am.
But before we take a break and adjourn, Ms. Ainley, what would you like to say?
All of his belongings that he did leave are at the house. I haven't touched anything.
But I
His
don't,
generator,
but
his,
here's the thing, again, I fully instructed both of you. And I'm gonna guess you don't have pictures or documentation of their condition.
no.
And
it's the
so
same
I'm
way
gonna
he
take
left it.
testimony from both of you, and so far I found you not credible. So, we're going to briefly adjourn, and you can go get copies, of all of those, documents, so that we can all have copies. And if you have other documents that you're going to want to use as exhibits, you're going to need to make sure that, you make them right now. And if you have a copy of some document that you're going to need as an exhibit, you need to go get copies made as well, so that I have one, Mr. Ainley has one, and you have one. Because the court needs one and each party needs a copy, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then we are briefly adjourned. You need copies?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you go get one set marked, please?
But they each gonna be separate, like you're gonna present each one separately or all the same thing? Is it all gonna be like one?
I would say the pictures as one.
The ones that are the same, I think I've got to have them stapled together.
Oh, so this is the original, which you can have it. Oh.
I've got copies of myself. Same thing.
Oh, okay, so these are different?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
6 pictures in one page. I can't talk to her.
Is she supposed to get a copy?
Yes, just give her all the copies. All right, back on the record, same appearances as previously noted. Mr. Ainley, you have now went and got copies of your exhibits, one for you, one for Ms. Ainley Hess, and one for the court. You may proceed with your testimony.
Yes, ma'am. The replacement costs and the list of personal items are all stapled together there. It goes from the tools and equipment. It goes, it's continued there. And I've got a sheet with the heading clothing and footwear. And I've got furniture in the basement that was ordered to me. And then the last sheet is my sporting equipment.
All right, well, you have to provide testimony so I can understand what it is that you're saying that you didn't receive, and then where you, what cost you're looking for and where you came up with this value.
Yes, ma'am. Starting on page 1 with tools and equipment. I had a Performax
You don't
3P.
have to, you don't have to go exactly line for line and tell me, but because I'm gonna guess there's like 1,000 items.
No, ma'am. This is the personal property that I had for my business, for my sporting, for my hunting, fishing, camping, my dress clothes, my everyday wear clothes, my winter clothes, my winter boots, all of anything and everything that I needed to live an everyday life was gone. Everything on this list, I never received this, except I did receive the pontoon boat. The 18-foot.
The pontoon boat, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the value of the pontoon boat?
About $4,500. That's what I paid for it about 6 years ago. It's nothing real fancy, but it was nice for the family.
So you received the pontoon boat, so you're not asking for pontoon boat back.
I sold the pontoon boats. It had holes drilled all in the pontoons and the motor was busted all up on it. So I sold that for $1,200.
Okay.
The 22-foot camping trailer.
With regards to your, let's start with your tools and your equipment.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you have a lot of tools and equipment here. How do you know that all of these tools and equipment were at the property?
Because I left not one piece, I left the property with nothing but the clothes on my back, basically.
And where did you receive all of the values for these each individual pieces of tools?
I purchased them myself personally. I purchased every piece of equipment, every tool that's on this list.
And how did you arrive at the value that you're asking for?
It is replacement cost to go purchase the same exact item that's on the list.
How did you arrive at that value?
Oh, I Googled it, looked it up online.
But where did you get the value? Google that just doesn't come up with.
Menards, you mean stores? Menards. I got some of it at Menards. I got some of it on just different sites that sell that product and that brand name product.
I don't see a total for your tools and equipment.
No, ma'am, I haven't totaled that up because I didn't really know exactly what I would be awarded, so I thought I would let the courts do that. Here it is, it's on the last page.
Let the courts do that?
No, ma'am, let me rephrase that. I do have it done, it's on the last page.
So the total of all of the items that you're asking for is $8,800?
No, ma'am, that is just for my sporting equipment.
Then where's the total of the tools and the equipment?
That is, I never totaled that up because I did not know exactly what I would be entitled to. I can add that up.
But I'm not gonna take the time to add all of this up.
This is all new for me, Your Honor.
So clothing and footwear,
Yes, ma'am. Clothing and footwear's $45.50.
and where are you arriving at this number? Because it's just a guess and I don't have any idea. We're not talking about like guess, or we're not talking about Michael Kors, or we're not talking about, you know, some other high-end type of clothing. I don't have anything identified, just shoes and boots, coats and jackets.
That was just a low ball idea of even just skimming the surface of the stuff I had. Some of the stuff I looked up, like Docker khaki casual or khaki dress slacks. I just looked up pairs and I thought, well, I had probably 5 or 6 pair of those. I just a rough estimate, you know.
I don't even have casual and dress pants. I don't even have 5 dress pants, 6 shirts. You even have to itemize when you donate to Goodwill
I
for
agree.
tax purposes, and I don't even have an itemization of that for this purpose.
I wasn't aware that I needed to itemize it.
You do, you're
I mean,
in
as
court.
far as clothing goes.
You have to be specific, because I can't just say, okay, well, I'm gonna guess there's $500 worth of clothes or $4,550 worth of clothes that she destroyed. I need to have, it needs to be specific. It doesn't need to be down to, it was 6 pairs of Dockers that were in great condition, 4 pairs of Levi's, 7 Nike shoes and things like that. But I need to have an idea because even again, for tax purposes, you need to identify when you donate to Goodwill or you donate to Salvation Army or you donate to anything like that, you have to have a general idea of 7 sweaters, 6 pairs of shoes, 1 table.
I understand that now. I wouldn't even begin to even start to know how many pair of Dockers I had, and those are $65, $70 a pair. I know I had 5 or 6 pairs of those, and nice dress shirts, tie. I mean, I have no way to even begin to make an itemized list of my clothing. I mean, I had a huge closet full of clothing. I mean, it's not like I go through on a yearly basis and inventory my clothing. I know it's a mistake on my part, but
You understand that otherwise you're asking the court to speculate.
okay, I understand that now that you put it that way. Yes, ma'am.
Furniture in the basement. I have a Samsung TV, surround sound for TV, a couch and a love seat, but I don't have exactly what type it is. A coffee table, end tables, an antique dresser, deer mount, walleye mount, antique reel collection, but there's no dollar amount on those 3.
I have no way of even valuing my deer mount. To me, it's priceless. My walleye mount, I don't know how to value that. And with the antique reel collection, I have no idea I mean, I'm not asking anything for the deer mount, the walleye mount, or the antique reel collection. I'm just adding that onto the list so it is known what I have got missing. I'm not looking for any reimbursement on that. If, it's like, that's just something that's priceless to me.
You're asking for them back if they're there.
Yes, ma'am.
The sporting equipment,
Sporting equipment, I had a brand new center point crossbow with a case and accessory that was $900. I had a clam portable ice shack they're $650. I had another ice shack heater that was $119. I had a Jiffy gas ice auger that was $350. I had a Vexlar fish locator FL18, and that was $509. I had ice fishing rods, 3 of those. They were valued at I looked them up. They're $237 through Gander Mountain. Ice fishing tip ups. They were Beaver Dam tip ups. I had 3 of them. Those are the Beaver Dams. I looked them up online at Cabela's. They added up to $240 for 3 tip ups. Votech Tomcat compound bow. I put the price on there that she paid for it. Rachel paid for it years ago, probably 8, 9 years ago. She bought that for me for a gift or something for my birthday or something like that at a pawn shop in Luck when they were open. I'm not looking for reimbursement for that really. I was making a list and just logged it all down. But then I got the Bowtech crossbow. I had a case and accessories for the bow. It was $100. I had Fluger fishing rod combo sets. I had 3 of those valued at $360. They're $120 a piece. Fishing tackle box and tackle. I put a real low price on that, $500, which that was super low. I mean, I don't know what all I had in there. I had thousands of jigs and lures.
all right, so Ms. Hess, you have a copy of all of these items that he is requesting, or all of these items at the home?
No,
Why not?
because he took some of them,
He's indicating he did not.
like Ford Ranger.
Oh.
The ice auger he took, his fishing stuff. I don't want his stuff. I mean, he can, whatever he wants from the house, go get. Don't care. And the deer amount is mine. I mean, he can have it. Don't care.
All right.
I just want this over.
Now, Mr. Ainley, you're asking for the Ford Ranger. That's on the list, but isn't this the Ford Ranger you received?
It is. I took pictures of the clothing and stuff that was in it, and I took pictures of all the damage to it. That wasn't drivable either. I had to have it towed on a tow trailer from the Grantsburg property to the Webster property where I was living at the time.
Because the serpentine belt was broke.
All right, so what's wrong with it, Mr. Ainley?
It was just beat all to pieces. The belts were cut off of it. All of the decals, emblems were all busted off of it. Their dents beat inside of it. It was just filthy. It was full of mice, rats, and old wet clothes. I sold that for $1,000 to a guy that worked for me out of Frederick, who worked under me. And I sold it to him for $1,000. He cleaned it up and got it running.
So if you sold it, then you can't ask for reimbursement for it because you no
Okay.
longer have it.
That's fine. That's fine. I just wanted to show the court, you know, the level of degrading appreciation, the degrading things that I've went through.
All right, now
this-
what else are you asking for?
Okay, I'm also asking for reimbursement of all of the reinstatement fees that I've had to pay for the mortgage payments and legal fees. The property was really close to being foreclosed on. I mean, within days, and I wasn't aware of this. The mortgage is just in my name because Rachel couldn't have her name on anything. She had so many judgments against her. So it's just in my name. The mortgage is through Cross Country Mortgage. I've got a reinstatement amount here that is paid. It's $10,059.40. That is current. And you've got copies of this. Is the reinstatement amount.
What number am I looking at? What exhibit number?
Where are we at with exhibit numbers?
Which document?
It's the Cross Country Mortgage ones. Oh, I apologize. You didn't get these. I apologize. This wasn't in the stack. Actually, it was. It's a Cross Country Mortgage reinstatement.
All right, I see it now. It is exhibit 1 and it says $10,059.40.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the amount you're seeking?
Toward the end, yes, ma'am.
Is that the amount you paid?
That's the amount that was added on, and part of the amount that I paid, this is the amount I paid, yes, ma'am.
You'll get the chance. And you're saying that you paid this amount to keep it from going into foreclosure?
Not the total amount, no, ma'am. Part of it went on the back of the loan.
Okay, now explain.
I've got the paper for that too. I've got the total payoff on it.
So what are you asking?
I have copies of the payoffs here, 3 copies. And with the legal fees that I had tacked on here, that's going on the loan that I don't feel that I should be responsible for because I pulled it out of foreclosure. And I've been making the payments for the last probably 7 or 8 months. I've got everything here.
Which are what?
I've got my bank statement payments where I've made the payments on
Exhibit 5. Your bank statements. Yes, that's what you're asking for?
Yes, ma'am. And then this is copies of the payoff. I mean, it shows, I've got 3 copies of this also. It's gonna be needed here in a few minutes.
Okay. You want to mark it?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead and mark it. Now explain what I'm looking at.
This is, okay, I'm gonna kind of jump back and forth just a little bit here on the reason I received this. I've received 5 letters in the mail from mortgage companies and lending companies stating what the payoff is, where they requested payoffs on the loan. And my loan and mortgage information was all sealed. No one had access to it at all because my ex-wife here tried to get in to find out a payoff on it about 6 months ago. And they told her, no, you can't. Tim's gonna have to get that for you. So anyways, I got 5 letters in the mail from 5 different loan companies and a title company stating that someone requested the payoff. So I got a letter from 5 different companies for people that requested the payoff, and they sent it to them. So I called them yesterday and to find out why. And they said, well, you signed a release form on November the 5th of this month to release information for your payoff. I said, no, ma'am, I did not. And I said, ask her if she could email that to me. She said, yes. So she emailed it to me, and my name has been forged on this paper. It is not my signature. And the owner is not Rachel Ainley as far as the loan goes, what's on the loan mortgage papers. So she forged my name on this paper to get the payoffs on my personal information.
Who did?
Ainley, please be quiet.
My ex-wife has signed my name multiple times when we were married. I give her permission to do that when we were married. Nobody else knows my social security number but her. She knows it by heart. And on the November the 5th this year, she signed my name for release of my personal information on my banking information. It's I'm pretty upset about this. I mean, it's like a total breach of my confidentiality and everything else in my personal business. The lady called me yesterday from a title company. Let me get I'm just nervous. A lady called me yesterday from a title company. She said, Mr. Ainley, we have a check for dividends for the sale of your property on North Boston Road. I said, a check for what? She said, well, we're closing on that on the 23rd. I said, absolutely not. This is in legal issues right now. I said, no. I said, I'm not getting a check. So anyways, I told her my name was forged to get the payoff and the information on this mortgage. And so she didn't say anything else. She hung up. But in the meantime, I'm in the house. I've got a paper here from Leon from Grasswood Realty where she refused $197,000 offer a few months back.
And that is exhibit number 3.
This is not my signature.
I don't have that in front of me. I don't know what you're referring to. This is not my signature. Are you going to have the court review that and look at that?
I gave copies to everyone.
Where is that? In what document? Oh, that is the first page of exhibit number 1.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize for that. I tried to keep it in order.
Oh, all right. Oh, and it has social security numbers on it that need to be redacted.
Yes.
Where it's signed. And it looks like Timothy Ainley on 11/5/24, and then it's Rachel Ainley on 11/5/24 with social security numbers. That is not your signature.
No, ma'am.
You did not sign that authorization to obtain information.
Absolutely not. This was signed 3 days before we had our court hearing on the 8th of this month when you postponed the court date to today.
I'm going to tell you that I'm looking at the dates and the social security numbers as they are written, and they look exactly like they're written by Miss Ainley. The dates and the social security numbers as written, the 8s are identical. I'm not a handwriting expert, not one who has went to school, but I'm gonna tell you, just by looking at it, Miss Ainley, I'm gonna tell you, you did this.
No, ma'am.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Where would I have signed it? I haven't been anywhere to sign anything.
Your name is signed on this.
I'm not
These
Rachel
dates are
Ainley.
stop talking over me. You did this, Miss Ainley. You signed this, Miss
I
Ainley.
didn't.
You signed this.
No, I
You
didn't.
did this.
No, ma'am. I promise you I didn't.
Oh, you can promise all you want. You are not
Okay,
credible.
okay,
You did this.
okay.
These 8s are the same. This 11/5/24 dates are the same.
They're not though.
They're the same.
You can call Katie. I'm not the one that signed.
I can call Katie?
Yes, ma'am. I did not sign.
You didn't sign in front of Katie.
I didn't sign at all.
Oh, so somebody forged your name
Ma'am,
too?
I have not signed anything. I was supposed to sign with the title company on Wednesday and I didn't.
Oh, so I have 2 fraudulent transactions here. Somebody forged your name, your
Yes, ma'am.
social security number and yours. That's good. I need to let the district attorney know right now. We have 2 fraudulent transactions done. Not only do we have it for you, Mr. Ainley, but we have it for Mrs. Ainley too.
I mean, you could check signatures even. I don't sign like
I
that.
don't believe that at all.
Okay, that's whatever. It is whatever. Not next day's gonna change it.
If I wouldn't have gotten these letters from these loan companies, from my mortgage company stating that these 5 lenders requested my payoff information, I would have never known that there was any type of fraudulent activity going on at all.
This is not fraudulent.
I'm looking at 22 CV 88, Rachel Ainley versus Timothy Ainley, your injunction request that you filled out. The signatures look almost identical,
Almost.
almost
Or
identical.
not me, I promise. Forging signatures, risking getting felonies when, no, not worth it. I'd walk away from the house before I do that. I'm not stupid.
Almost identical. The signature Rachel Ainley on 22 CV 87, 22 CV 88, Rachel Ainley signature, almost identical.
Almost. It's not
You
me.
can't sign your name the exact same every way. I don't sign my name the exact same every way, Miss Ainley.
I didn't say that. But it wasn't me. I'm not an Ainley. I wouldn't sign Ainley.
It says Rachel Ainley. Because
Exactly.
you want to know what? Rachel Ainley owns the house, not Rachel Hess. So you have to sign it Rachel
See,
Ainley.
I don't know that. I didn't know that.
Please continue.
You know, I just, I have, what bank statements I could acquire from all of the payments I made and the electric bills I've had to pay, to keep turn the electrics back on at the house there. I even paid their cell phone bill, so my children have their, well, my older daughter have her phone. My 2 younger ones don't have a phone yet. I don't know how that, but, I just have statements here and bank statements of what I paid out and what come out of my account with my debit cards or whatever I paid with. I've got a 3,500, 64.71. That's all the statements on the house payments that I made. And some of them are for $660. That's because that was the $660 was the previous payment amount on our mortgage. And when I got it modified to pull it out of foreclosure twice, the payments went down to, I believe it's 564 something, I believe. Anyways, now that it's remodified, I sent off a loan modification contract yesterday morning through FedEx. We signed them to keep the house afloat, keep from losing it. I'm still continuing to make the payments on the property. If not, I would lose everything, my whole life savings. Anytime my ex-wife has gotten any large amount or large sum of money, it's never spent on what it's supposed to. Bills, kids' bills first. Like I said, about 5 years ago, we were involved in a serious accident, her and I, in Hayward. She got a $40-something thousand settlement, never paid a payment on the house. And then, like I said, I got in some legal trouble back in May. And I was incarcerated in Polk County for a couple months. So I was totally ghosted out of everything. And when I was released and went into a sober living home, I started getting mail after I had my forwarding address to my home now. And I found out that it was going into foreclosure, and I caught it within like 4 or 5 days before it actually was foreclosed on. So I've done everything in my means. I can't do it anymore. I mean, you know, I can't keep paying $1,085 a month child support, a mortgage payment. Plus we have to pay $600 a month at Onyx Sober Living Place. It's an awesome Christian living home. I have to pay $600 a month there on top of gas and food. And I'm trying to get steady work, and it's like, which this is coming through good too. But anyways, I just can't do it anymore financially. I mean, if it wasn't for God keeping me strong in my mind, I don't know. I would have lost it even worse than what I did back the last year and a half over this divorce. All I want is what I believe I deserve and what I have invested in the material things that's there now on the property and the home. And that's not even counting the things I've lost over the 17 years being married to her.
All right, Mr. Ainley, so I can understand it, and then I'm going to ask Miss Ainley Hess if she has questions for you. As I can understand it from your testimony, if I can find that list. I added up all of the tools and equipment, and it comes to around 23,000, give some odd $100 with the tools and equipment, and then 45 or $4,550 for clothing. But again, as I went over their speculation, $5,450 for furniture, $8,803 for sporting and equipment. But again, you understand, I'm not saying that I'm going to award you all of that or any of that, quite honestly, because there's speculation, and I have to consider testimony and listen to the argument and evidence from Ms. Ainley. But that's what you're asking, and you're having the court consider, correct?
With the reimbursement of the payments.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Oh,
with
yes,
that.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And then with regards to the home, you're asking for the court to reimburse you for the payments that you've made to keep the house out of foreclosure, which would include, as I have in Exhibit 5, and you've highlighted, a total of $3,564.71 for house payments, and for, I believe it's for house insurance, and you're asking for cell phone bills and electric bills for those reimbursement payments. And you're asking for the court to reimburse you from Exhibit number 4 for an additional house payment of $554.46. And you're asking the court to reimburse you for $10,059.40 as shown in Exhibit 1. And I don't know what you're asking the court to do, perhaps punitive damage, or to look at credibility issues or fraudulent issues as it relates to a forging or allegation of forgery of your name of Miss Ainley with the Exhibit 1 with the authorization to obtain information that I have here. Is that all correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I missing anything?
As far as everything that I'm asking for to be rewarded to me,
Yes.
on top of the $27,000 that I was originally supposed to, okay.
Thank you. And
Yes,
that's,
ma'am.
I forgot about that. On top of the $27,000 from the findings of fact, conclusions of law from paragraph number 9, it's actually $26,000 in equity.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's $26,000 in equity. That it says Mr. Ainley is awarded $26,000 in equity and equalization of the parties' overall property division. All right. In addition to that, now, what were you asking of the court with regards to Exhibit 6 in this? Was this just an exhibit to show the court what is remaining on the mortgage?
Yes, ma'am. That was the request for a payoff.
Okay,
From
just
other-
showing me what is
And
left
I
to
have
pay off.
5 of those, so I gave everybody one for the proof of the payoff that's current.
All right. Okay, Miss Ainley, do you have, this is not your time for testimony. You will get time to testify and to provide your own evidence for the court. This is your time to provide or to ask questions of Mr. Ainley as it relates to his evidence and his testimony to the court. Do you have questions for Mr. Ainley?
Yes, I do.
You may begin.
When did you purchase this stuff? Because, a lot of it, you never had when we were married.
I
And
had
I'm
a-
going to state for the record by stuff, you're referring to what he has listed in.
Oh, yeah,
his-
like a DeWalt cordless drill combo? $900? Really? Where'd this come from?
I purchased that when we
I've got plenty of witnesses.
should have brought them with you.
Oh, I should have.
I purchased those, that DeWalt cordless skill saw drill, hammer drill set with a sawzall in it. I purchased that in Nashville, Tennessee when we moved down there when I started my remodeling business. We owned property down there at the time also. I believe I purchased that at a Lowe's building center. To my knowledge, yes.
Am I okay to talk now?
Next question.
Okay, your Husqvarna Zero Turn. How'd you get it on the trailer?
It
You
started up-
drove it.
Well, let me answer. It started up for a minute, and oil blew off the side of it, and then we had to take a come-along winch and winch it up on the trailer to get it on the trailer.
And your four-wheeler?
Same with the
Nothing was wrong
four-wheeler.
with
The
it.
motor was busted out of the four-wheeler. It would not run. We had to push that up on the trailer.
No,
Well, I thought you weren't out there when the stuff was
It is
loaded.
not for comments.
it was on my property.
And it's not for comments or for testimony. It's for questions of Mr. Ainley.
Yes, ma'am. The four-wheeler is totally destroyed. It was not runnable. It would have cost more to repair it than to purchase another one.
Okay, and then where did you get the price for the furniture in the basement? Because that stuff came from a thrift store, not $3,500.
No, ma'am, the furniture did not come from a thrift store.
Yes, ma'am, or yes, it
It
is.
was. Ask the answer. I'll wait, excuse me, I apologize. I'll wait till I ask and answer that question. The furniture was brand new. I went and done voluntary work for a gentleman over in, I believe it was outside of Siren. I helped him cut wood. And the man traded me my labor because we were doing voluntary wood work, cutting and splitting wood. And I was helping him deliver some stuff. It was all community service work and I was volunteering my time. And I helped him load and move some furniture into a storage unit. And I said, I believe the guy's name was Dan. I don't remember. It's been so many years. It's been probably 8, 9 years ago. But anyways, I said, oh, that's a nice love seat and couch and ottoman and chair. I said, that's beautiful. It looked good down in the basement that I just remodeled. He said, well, I tell you what, load it up and you can have it. So the price on that furniture, the furniture was brand new, it wasn't even used. I mean, it doesn't matter whether I paid for it or not. It was mine and it was awarded to me. And if I wanted to go buy another set just like it, I couldn't even really, I looked stuff up online, like at, some of the furniture stores. And that was the closest range I could come to. And that was the lowest, one of the lower, low end prices on something that was even similar to it.
Next question.
I have nothing more to say. It's just, I don't even know what to say.
All right, now, if you don't have any other questions for Mr. Ainley, this is your opportunity to provide your own testimony to the court and your own evidence to the court as it relates to this matter. You've heard Mr. Ainley provide his evidence and his testimony to the court, so this is your time to provide any contrary evidence or contrary testimony to the court. You may
Do you
begin.
want a copy of what Commissioner said on the 10th
I
of
can,
October?
I will have it in my file
Okay.
if that's what you're asking. I can take judicial notice of that. Let me get to,
Because that has what his lawyer added up on what I have to give him.
and what date is that
It was on October 10th,
of 2023?
24.
October 10th of 2024. All right, I have that order right here. It is actually signed October 14th, 2024, and I have that right here. Yes, it says that Ms. Hess has paid Mr. Ainley $5,000 of the $26,000. Therefore, she still owes $21,000 out of that $26,000. Yes, Ms. Ainley, you may continue with your testimony.
And then I have, from the buyers of the property. They had tried messaging Tim about, buying, and Tim told them that the only way that he would sign in and cooperate is if I agree to give him 55,000. Ma'am, I'm not asking for all of the money, but I am gonna need enough to get me and my kids a place. And I, with everything I've given him, even his ice auger, it's not my fault if he sells it.
Ms. Ainley, I'm not hearing anything to contradict anything that Mr. Ainley has told me with regards to the property.
His property is there. Everything he left. Nobody has touched it.
Don't believe you. I don't believe
You
you.
could send somebody there.
I
It's there.
see pictures.
That was stuff that was put in his truck while he was there. That is not what I sent for him.
I can always do an order that he can go and retrieve property and with a dollar amount order. And if he retrieves property and it's not damaged, then that property, it diminishes the dollar amount that he gets. But I don't have any contradictory evidence. I don't have,
I don't
And
know
I
what I
told-
don't know what I can give you.
Ms. Ainley, I told you exactly what to give me on November 8th. I said, I need pictures, I need testimony, I need things. And what you needed to do then was you knew what he would be looking for. You knew what property was his or what he would be seeking.
And it's
So-
still his.
So you knew though, you have a cell phone, you have a camera, pictures. You could have brought pictures and said, look, Judge, not damaged, still working. That's exactly what I told you to do. I told both of you I needed evidence. You needed to come here prepared. This was your day. This was it. This was the one and only day both of you would get. I was very clear with both of you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Very clear with both of you. This was your day to come prepared. Very clear. Without going out myself and taking the pictures and doing the case myself, I was very clear at what both of you needed to do. And you didn't come prepared to do that. Except you're coming and you're saying, it's all there, it's fine. But I'm hearing testimony that's saying it's not fine. I'm seeing pictures where it's not fine. And quite honestly, Miss Ainley, I hear testimony and I see things that show you're not credible. I believe you're not credible.
Okay.
I fully believe you forged his name.
No, ma'am.
I fully believe you forged
And
his
how
name.
would I do it?
Hi, pen, hi, paper. Let's write Tim Ainley.
No.
I'm not blind. I can see.
Well,
And
maybe
I've
we should have
taken
someone look at it then.
judicial notice. I've been doing this job a long time. I look at your signature on 2 documents where
Yes.
you've signed.
Look at his.
I have. It's
I
not
don't-
his
It's
signature.
not mine.
This is your signature,
No.
Rachel Ainley.
Can you call Katie? I didn't sign.
Then you were not looking to sell this property because this is what it took to sell the
I
property.
can't sign. You told me we couldn't sign
Sign what?
the papers yet.
You didn't sign the papers. This was to try and get a payoff, to try and get the offer.
I've made
what
no
you
attempt to
got.
get payoff. They do. The company does. I make no attempt. I have not made any attempts.
Need payoff, please.
See, it's sincerely Katie, not Rachel. And Katie is wherever that is.
Miss Ainley, the more you talk, the more you're digging your hole.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm telling you.
I strongly encourage you not to, because this is all taken down
Okay,
and this is a transcript and the district attorney can get this transcript.
okay, that's fine. Because I don't have anything to hide. I don't. I would have plenty of witnesses, but you didn't want kids here.
I said, bring witnesses.
I wouldn't put my kids through it.
And I think that that is the best thing that you could do
That's who I had.
as a mother. Because quite honestly, that was a terrible,
It was.
awful thing that happened at that other
So by
hearing.
not bringing them, I have no credibility. So just order what you're gonna, order what you're gonna. I just want it done. I want,
If either of you put your children in the middle, you are awful parents.
that's why they're not here. That's why I have no witnesses. Because all I had was my kids.
No, you don't. Miss Ainley?
Yes, it was. It was.
You can stop crying because tears,
I'm not crying because of that.
again,
You're
telephone.
not listening.
You're not listening. Stop crying. Stop that. Telephone pictures say 1,000 words. Stop it. This
order
boo-hoo,
what you're
cry means nothing.
Okay.
See? No tears. Nothing.
Oh, I got none now.
I know, because they're not real.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Okay.
fall for those
Okay.
tears. So now, do you have any
No.
proof or any evidence? Because quite honestly, right now, there's nothing in your favor.
I guess not.
Because I fully believe, Mr. Ainley, I truly do believe you walked out with nothing. I believe you walked out, quite honestly, with the clothes on your back. And with what you said, you had a couple shirts, a couple pair of underwear, a couple pair of socks. You had nothing. I can't tell though, Mr. Ainley, if all of this is accurate and true. I can't. The problem is that at the date of divorce, I'm gonna tell you, the date of divorce that I handled, it was a contested divorce, and you had an attorney. Even when you had an attorney, quite honestly, gonna be blunt, you were quite, not so smart. You've never been smart with this lady. You've never been smart with this lady.
I agree.
You've let her control you and take everything from you. Because when you are here and you came here with your divorce, you came with this exhibit of personal property that you wanted to retrieve, and it's bare bones. It's not really that enforceable. You should have went that day or very soon after that day to retrieve this personal property. And then when you went back with your attorney in front of commissioner to retrieve your property, and it's very clear in that hearing that commissioner said 2 dates and 2 sets of times to go retrieve your personal property, which Miss Ainley said today, I didn't know, which was a lie, because she knew, because it's very clearly there in the minutes.
Ma'am, I said it wrong. I didn't know he would show up because he was set to come before and he didn't show. He was set to come in June and didn't show up.
Well, he had his attorney, he paid his attorney, they went to a contempt hearing, they got 2 specific dates with 2 very specific times to go show up. And you were instructed not to be on that property, not to be on that residence from 2 to 4 p.m. on September 30th and 2 to 4 p.m. on October 1st. Very 2 specific times, 2 hours
I'm
on
guilty
2
of it then.
days.
I'm sorry.
Stop talking. 2 hours on 2 days where you could have just went to Dairy Queen. You could have went to the dairy. You could have went driving. You could have went anywhere for 2 hours, those 2 days, and you didn't.
Agree.
So Mr. Ainley, you had these 2 specific times to go get this property, and you went, and she was there, and it set your mind aside, or you lost all track of what you were doing. But you needed to get your property that day, because that's when commissioner said, get your property. And you didn't pick anything up that day. And then from September 28th, 2023, when you were supposed to get your property, even though you were supposed to get your property that day, she was not supposed to be there. Both of you didn't do what you were told to do from the commissioner. Neither of you did what you were supposed to do. Neither of you do what you're supposed to do. It's a history with both of you. Neither of you do what you're supposed to do. Neither of you listen to anyone. Now, going back to the personal property, it's very vague. I don't have this specific list of property from the date of divorce. You should have went back. You should have gotten it a whole lot sooner from the date of divorce, because the date of divorce was way back, March 6, 2023, and it's now November 21st, 2024. There's absolutely no guarantee that anything is there and anything is in its proper order or condition. And I can't guarantee that any of these tools are the tools that you're asking for, because in your date of divorce, you said tools. And you didn't say Hilti hammerjack drill, DeWalt cordless combo set. You know, you didn't specifically identify. This is what you're supposed to do in a divorce. You're not supposed to list tools. In a divorce where you get along and it's amicable or somewhat amicable, you can list tools. In a divorce with gasoline and fire, like this, gasoline and fire, you list everything out exactly what it is, word for word, item for item, value for value, not tools. Because it makes it very hard when we're here in November 21st, 2024, when this divorce was March of 2023. And I can't go back and say, okay, now what tools did you really have during the marriage? You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I wish I could, because I do find you more credible, Mr. Ainley. Although in this divorce, it's hard to find credibility.
Can I add something, Your Honor?
No,
Okay.
and it's hard to find. You sold the pontoon, that's taken care of. The tools, it's hard to find. There's a generator, the Ford Ranger, you sold that. There's chainsaws ×3. It's very hard to determine the value of the property that you listed at the date of divorce. And that's what I have to go off of. I can't go off of what you identified here today.
The day of the divorce, my attorney, Adam Benson,
I can't
asked,
hear what your attorney
I said-
said or told you. I can't hear that. And it's not that I can't hear you because you're soft spoken right now. It's because what happened at your date of divorce happened at your date of divorce. That's the past. It should have happened at the date of divorce. So lesson learned. Next time you get divorced, if it's gasoline and fire, you make sure that you have a list identifying each and every item. Because otherwise, if you say tools, you might get a screwdriver and a hammer. You are entitled to have some of your property, and I can identify some items here because some do correlate from this list, this personal property list from the date of divorce to the list that you have provided here, such as the generator, and you do have the chainsaws. You have all personal belongings, and I guess I can equate that to some of your clothing. And you have the furniture in the basement and the TV in the basement. I don't know if you listed the small trailer. But all in all, in looking at what you're asking for today, when you go through a divorce, at the time of divorce, the judge says, you understand that after today, you can't come back and say, you know what, Judge, I forgot to ask for something, because that date is done. You only get what you ask for at the date of divorce. And those are what's listed in Exhibit 1. And if I'm calculating correctly in Exhibit 1 minus what you've already received, I'm having an issue with the clothing because I can't decipher if you've had how many shoes and boots and coats and jackets and all of those things you've had. I do know that they are clothing is worth a lot. Ms. Ainley, do you have an idea of how much clothing in a dollar amount he would be entitled to? You have an
I had
amount?
no idea his sucking got burnt, ma'am.
Do you have an idea of how much you would stipulate to?
I don't.
Well, in looking at Commissioner's order, I see that you are entitled to $21,000 still from the original order from the findings of fact. The court is going to order $3,564.71 from the house payments, from reimbursement for the house payments, the house insurance, and the other bills. From Commissioner's order, there is also $5,008.14 for the 9 mortgage payments. I am going to order wait. Wait, what did I just say? 9,000?
3,564.71 from house payments, house insurance and other bills, and then 5,081.14 from the 9 mortgage payments.
Yeah, that was wrong because it added something else. So there's, 554, 6 times 9. It's $4,990.14
The commissioner.
from the commissioners. $554.46 in the additional payment. $554.46 in that additional payment from Exhibit 4. And in my calculation, with all of the personal property that I can see in Exhibit 1, document 36 from the original divorce as compared to what is requested for today in the itemized list of items, I am seeing $18,200 for a total of $48,309.31. plus there is an additional $10,059.40 reinstatement fee. That the court is awarding. And I'm awarding $15,000 because I do believe that is a penalty. Because I do fully believe that Ms. Amy fraudulently signed his name. So there is a total of $64,368.71.
Wait, one more time.
64,000 what?
$64,368.71. That is to be paid to Mr. Ainley from the proceeds of the sale of the home. If the home is not to be sold, if it's not sold tomorrow as expected, then the court is going to order that the home is going to be remitted over to Mr. Ainley for ownership instead of Miss Ainley.
Your Honor, the latest to close was December 30th.
Thought it was gonna close tomorrow.
We were supposed to, but he refused.
Well, then it can close.
If they're willing now.
If not, then I'm ordering that, if it doesn't close, then ownership of the home turns
Then
over to
How do
Mr.
I
Ainley.
get? How is that fair to me and the kids?
How is it fair? Because I fully believe you signed
I
his
did
name.
not.
I
What do I
fully
have to do to
believe,
prove it?
Ms. Ainley, I fully believe that you have destroyed his property.
I
That
did
you
not.
have burned his property, that you have sold his property, that you have thrown away his property, that you have done everything to keep him from having his property, that I believe that you have done everything.
Well, if somebody goes to the house, you'll see it's
And
not
you have
true.
been totally
Okay,
vengeful.
Well, so
Now,
you think, yep.
he can go and retrieve his property. And if Mr. Ainley, you have the ability to go to the property. You're still at the property, Miss Ainley?
I won't be.
When? You're out of the property? You moved out of the property?
I will be tomorrow.
You've moved out of the property
I
tomorrow?
won't stay there.
So are you moving out of the
Yes, I
property
am.
and you're living somewhere else?
I'm going to, yes.
Okay,
I don't have a choice.
all right. So you can go to the property tomorrow and retrieve all of your property.
Time,
You can look all day. She's not gonna be there anymore.
What
And
if it's
apparently
locked?
the house is going to be sold.
what if it's locked up?
Well, you would have the ability to, you would have the ability to have a locksmith come and go into the property.
Your Honor, what if he takes more than what's his?
He is ordered to only take his property, and that would be anything that is on the list that you have. He is not to remove anything else but anything on that list.
I will make sure I have a witness with me, take pictures, ma'am.
All right, so you can go tomorrow and you have all day if you want.
One more question, Your Honor. The amount that I was awarded, the $64,368.71, if she closes on that property, is that mortgage company that's buying the house or whatever, they have to cut me a check for that
Yes,
amount
they do.
before I can
Yes,
close on
they
it?
have to cut you a check for that amount.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, Miss Ainley, it's not going to close tomorrow now?
I have no idea.
Well, if it doesn't close, then again, the court is awarding the home to Mr. Ainley.
As of tomorrow, I have 1 day.
It was supposed to close tomorrow. That is why
Yes,
this
but
court,
he refused. He told them no,
but here's the thing,
but
the-
that's why they went to December.
Miss Ainley, and the court specifically held this hearing today.
I
So
know.
it can close
I know.
tomorrow.
I know.
Did you not recall that I had a
Yes, ma'am.
mandatory,
Yes.
mandatory education course that I had to have
Yes.
today?
Yes, but I don't have control over them. I don't.
You had it set to close
Yes.
today.
I had it set to close tomorrow.
If it closes tomorrow, Your Honor, I'll sign whatever needs to sign. That's
That's
not gonna slow up any
You
closing.
can contact them and the court will prepare an order here today and I will have it done here shortly.
Yes, ma'am.
And then it can be signed and Mr. Ainley, you can come and retrieve it by 4:30 PM and you can make sure that the company has it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Then we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Well, there's a lot of egregious things going on here, but the most egregious was the one where she forged his signature to find out financial info. And they were lenders that contacted him, 5 lenders, and I don't quite understand that. So either she was applying for loans under his name, and then it was found out, or it's possible these are mortgage companies for the sale of the house. You know, the buyer of the house, their lending company is contacting his lending company to find out the payoff info. But he would gladly sign that. So there's no reason for her to forge his signature on that. He would sign it. So I think there's something shady going on there. I just don't know what. But then she sold his stuff. She burned his stuff. She lost his stuff. And she clearly lied to the court because in the orders it says from 2 to 4, she's supposed to be gone. I mean, she could have gone to the movies. She could have gone anywhere. She could have gone to visit a friend for the afternoon, taken her kids to the park. Who knows? But she could have gone somewhere. So that was really bad. And she deserved the shellacking she got from the judge because she was doing some shady, vengeful. She tried to ruin his credit. She didn't pay the mortgage for months and months. It was in foreclosure. It takes at least 6 months for a home to go into foreclosure. You have to not pay for a long time. So she was supposed to be paying the mortgage. And she said, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't have a roof over my kid's head. Well, you didn't really care about that when you weren't paying the mortgage. You were happy to ruin his credit. You were happy to ruin everything that he's got going on. So she deserved the punitive money the judge awarded her. And she wanted to cry, I don't know anything, I don't know, whatever. Okay. The judge shut that down real quick. Anyway, I think that he deserved the things that he got. Possibly if he did better accounting, he would have gotten more. But she deserved also the judgment she got, even if she doesn't like it, because she is a vengeful ex. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.